Netflix is planning to open its own network of brick-and-mortar stores, which is like a serial killer walking around in the skin of his victim.
Ron DeSantis' presidential campaign got a major boost after Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds endorsed him. Also giving DeSantis a lift, his leather hooker boots. The Supreme Court is addressing recent allegations of ethical lapses by adopting a new code of conduct, replacing their old code of conduct, money up front, no kissing on the mouth. Golfer Bubba Watson has released a Christmas rap featuring his character Bubba Claus. You can find it on the new compilation. Now that's what Jost calls music. A new report shows that South Korea now has the world's lowest birth rate, despite the efforts of South Korean entertainer Nick Can-un.
It was announced that a musical version of Lord of the Rings will open in Chicago. So if you love musicals and you love Lord of the Rings, high school must have been a tough time. Trust me, I know.
This week, the popular NPR podcast Serial finished its 12-episode run. For much more on this story, talk to white people. You have me at royal duties. Domino's is reducing the number of chicken wings included in their meals, and I really wish I'd known that before I had my delivery guy fired for stealing.
Several major media companies, including NBC Universal, have pulled their advertising from Elon Musk's X over concerns that ads for their shows could appear next to pro-Nazi propaganda, which is a huge relief because I was definitely worried about where this was going to end up. This week, Donald Trump also told supporters that if he's elected, he will focus on anti-white racism. Thank God. My people have suffered long enough. Sorry, Che, but time's up.
A new report shows that for the first time, the majority of billionaires last year received their fortunes through family inheritance. And not to brag, but I inherited my family's learning disabilities. Kamala Harris released an 81-page book outlining her economic policy, because you know how women like to go on and on and on. Protesters continue to gather at Standing Rock Indian Reservation to stop the construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline. The natives believe that the oil pipeline could contaminate their water supply, but the oil company believes, nah. The Sheriff's Department began using rubber bullets and water hoses against the protesters last weekend. And I know that law enforcement is a very, very tough job. But at some point, when you're out there in 23-degree weather, spraying some native family with a fire hose on Thanksgiving, you gotta stop and wonder, are we the bad guys? This week, Donald Trump said that he supports abortion laws being decided by the states instead of the federal government. But why stop there? Why not go even smaller and leave it up to the counties or the city? Or even better, take the government out of it completely and leave it the choice about what women can do with their bodies to the person who knows what they could do with them the best, their husbands.
On Thursday, Trump went to the White House and showed us how brave he is by meeting face-to-face with the man who founded ISIS.
A new report claims that recent stories on the Sports Illustrated website were actually generated by AI, and it's already making glaring mistakes. For instance, it made up something called the WNBA.
Dwayne Johnson said that a skull of a T-Rex seen behind him during a recent interview was a replica and not the real thing. Johnson also said it's just a coincidence that his diet calls for 1,000 pounds of dinosaur meat a day. Gen Z icon Kyle Rittenhouse is petitioning the court for the return of his rifle so he can destroy it. I don't know. Careful, Kyle. Trying to get your memorabilia back is how they finally got OJ.
During his acceptance speech, Will Smith said, "Love will make you do crazy things." You know what else makes you do crazy things? Crazy. But I understand where Will's coming from. I mean, you can't expect him to sit there and watch another man jump all over his wife without signing an NDA.
Leaked excerpt from her upcoming memoir, Britney Spears said she got pregnant while she was dating Justin Timberlake because back then, even their condoms were denim.
Oh, Colin. A 220-carat diamond known as the Rock will become the largest white diamond ever auctioned off. Wow, 220 carats. I mean, can you imagine the size of the child who mined that? I like this so far.
And plans for a 3-year-long around-the-world cruise were canceled after organizers could not find a ship for the voyage. Guys, call me. Pump Rintin? After McDonald's. Yesterday, Will Smith resigned from the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts, and Sciences. He wasn't going to, but then Jada gave him that look.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who revealed this week that he had a parasitic brainworm, posted on X, "I offered to eat 5 more brainworms and still beat President Trump and President Biden in a debate," which is such an insane thing to probably be right about.
Downplayed the possibility of U.S. military intervention, saying, "We will not fight the Third World War in Ukraine." And I understand, but it's hard to stand by and watch Putin bombing things like schools, a maternity ward, and I'm just going to assume puppy daycare centers. The situation is so upsetting that I've honestly thought about marching down to the nearest Army enlistment office and signing Che up.
That's not what that was. That wasn't an eye joke.
It wasn't an eye joke.
No, it wasn't an eye joke.
During a Senate committee hearing, Dr. Anthony Fauci was heard on a hot mic calling Senator Roger Marshall a moron. Replied Marshall, "Hey, what's that word mean?" Wildlife officials in Tennessee have captured a 500-pound black bear living on a college campus. A black bear that, let's face it, took the spot of more deserving white and Asian bears.
This year, Caitlin Clark broke the record for three-pointers in a single season, and I have 3 pointers for Michael Che. 1B, 2 funnier, 3 dumbass. The man who attacked Nancy Pelosi's husband with a hammer has been found guilty and is expected to be in prison until Trump's first day back as president. A sculpture of a kneeling Adolf Hitler was sold at auction for more than $17 million. The statue depicts Hitler on his knees, begging people to stop comparing him to Donald Trump. Fortunately, it was sold to a Jewish man who is about to have the greatest Snapchat of all time.
CIA Director General David Petraeus resigned Friday after it was revealed he was having an affair with the woman who wrote his biography, All In. Of course, when they first started working on the book, it was called Just the Tip.
A French man who calls himself the Snake Man was arrested this week after climbing up the side of a Manhattan high-rise. Yep, he climbed right up the side of a high-rise, just like a snake.
A nurse in New Jersey won a Lay's potato chip contest by creating the new flavor of wasabi ginger, which sounds less like a chip flavor and more like something Joe Biden would accidentally call the Chinese ambassador.
After 50 years entertaining children, a fed-up Mickey Mouse finally started to eat one this week.
A shepherd in Germany has discovered a rare geep, which is a sheep-goat hybrid. It's believed to be the first sheep-goat hybrid to be discovered since Kid Rock.
Well, the Grammy Award nominations were announced this week, and it was a lucky day for singer Billy Ray Cyrus. Apparently, he found a $5 bill in a taxi.
According to a new study of fossils, the act of sex used by humans was pioneered by an ancient armored fish called placoderms about 385 million years ago. But it wasn't perfected until last night by your mama.
Gia, the world's oldest panda, passed away this week at the age of 38. Gia died after suffering a stroke.
In an effort to feel smarter than somebody, Dan Quayle this week spoke to 4,000 Amway employees.
This weekend is New York Comic Con, the annual gathering of people whose comic books and genitals are kept in mint condition.
Actor Charlie Sheen is reportedly engaged to model Donna Peel. Friends of Sheen say they knew Sheen was serious when he took Donna home to meet the hookers.
Mexican officials are upset with Pope Francis after he said he was concerned about the increased drug trafficking in his native Argentina, calling it Mexicanization. Pope Francis later apologized, calling his comment, quote, as dumb as a Guatemalan.
It was reported that Al Pacino is in talks to play the late Penn State football coach Joe Paterno in a new movie. This will be Pacino's second film with the line, "Say hello to my little friend."
Well, O.J. Simpson's lawyers stopped feuding this week, finally. The Dream Team, F. Lee Bailey and Robert Shapiro, were able to put aside their differences and express their admiration for each other after O.J. threatened to cut their heads off.
Actors Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively were married this past weekend. It's nice for a couple to go into a marriage knowing it won't be the worst thing they've ever done together.
A writer for Orange is the New Black said that working on the show made her realize that she was gay, while watching what goes on in that woman's prison reminded me that I am not.
Well, this will get you back. A man in California was attacked by bears after he interrupted them having sex. Even worse, they were having sex with his wife. We tried. A new study shows that Beaumont, Texas is the least educated city in the country. Oh man, wait until they don't read about this.
Well, there may be trouble in paradise. Lisa Marie Presley confirmed this week that she and Michael Jackson live in separate residences 50 miles away from each other. Lisa Marie was quoted as saying, "I guess being married to a homosexual pedophile wasn't such a great idea after all."
A new restaurant is opening in Philadelphia that will pay its waiters $13 an hour, but will not allow customers to tip them. The no tipping policy has been in effect for years among its black customers. I'm kidding, that's a myth. Black people tip. I tip like 65% of the time.
A theme park in England has banned all single people from entering the park to protect children from possible pedophiles. So let this be a lesson to all you pedophiles out there. Start working in teams.
Kenny G has a Christmas album out this year. Hey, happy birthday, Jesus. Hope you like crap.
A new company has begun selling plaques for gravestones that contain QR codes, allowing visitors to the gravesite to scan the code and be sent to a web page about the deceased, though I don't think it's a good idea for the web page to have a comment section.
Well, how about this, huh? You know it makes me sick when a society lets a guy like Colin Ferguson live for another 200 years. Ridiculous. It's crazy.
The organization planning the Women's March on Washington in January has released the official logo for the event. It's a great logo because, like many feminists, it puts the white women in the front.
The National Museum of African American History opened on the Washington Mall this week, and it gives a detailed account of black history in the U.S. Or, for a different version of black history, give my grandpa scotch.
Oh, now you on my side. George Zimmerman, who shot Trayvon Martin, spoke out for the first time, saying he blames President Obama for inciting racial tensions that erupted after the shooting. At least he thinks it was Obama. It was pretty dark at the time. According to a new study, about 15% of 2-year-olds in Boston drink as much as 4 ounces of coffee a day. But Boston kids need that coffee to help them get through their hangovers.
A new public bathroom has opened in China that is completely transparent. Oh, sure, but when I use a transparent public bathroom, I'm vandalizing the Apple Store.
A 70-year-old woman in India has given birth to her first child. Doctors described the birth as, quote, like pulling a penny out of a wad of gum.
In clown news, clowns in Arizona are rallying in support of their profession by organizing a Clown Lives Matter rally. Even worse, the clowns are inviting children to the rally, which takes place deep in the woods.
Judge Ito was interviewed this week by a local TV station in Los Angeles. Asked by the interviewer if it was appropriate for a supposedly impartial judge to be on TV with his case still pending, Ito said, "Maybe not, but how appropriate is it to kill your ex-wife?"
A 66-year-old Florida grandfather this week wrestled an alligator that tried to eat his dog. That story again, an old man and his dog were eaten by an alligator.
Well, in a questionable move by the defense team this week, O.J. Simpson demonstrated how to stab 2 people at the same time.
Ford has announced plans to start selling a new version of its classic Bronco SUV in 2020. Hey, just in time for parole.
A man in Australia has been bitten by a venomous spider on his penis for the 2nd time in 5 months. Fool me once, said the guy who had to suck out the poison.
A California farmer has begun powering his farm using leftover walnut shells. If you're wondering which farm it is, it's the one with no power.
O.J.'s pal Al Cowlings now has a 1-900 number. For $2.99 a minute, Cowlings will tell callers that O.J. is innocent. And for $3.99 a minute, he'll try to do it without laughing. To mark its 75th anniversary, General Mills will abandon its traditional image of Betty Crocker and unveil a new multi-ethnic Betty Crocker, whose likeness will combine the features of 75 different kinds of women. Here she is.
An Australian man who ate nothing but potatoes for an entire year has lost more than 100 pounds, no longer needs antidepressants, lowered his cholesterol, and is dead.
At this year's International Water Tasting Contest, Hamilton, Ohio won for having the best tasting water, while the town with the worst tasting water is Dookieville, Illinois.
Scientists in Japan have invented underwear for men with a special scent that they claim is irresistible to women. Let me tell you something. If you've got a woman's nose in your crotch, you don't need special underwear. I'll tell you that.
A A Cheeto that looks like the gorilla Harambe was sold on eBay for nearly $100,000. The buyer is actually a little like Harambe in that he also deserves to be shot.
I need your love. You free my mind. I need your love. Yeah, you free my mind.
Our top story tonight. Following his shocking acquittal 2 weeks ago, O.J. Simpson vowed never to rest until the real killers of Nicole Brown Simpson are brought to justice. And the manhunt continues.
A number of airports around the country are trying to relieve the stress caused by long security lines by hiring clowns to entertain travelers. Because nothing puts you at ease like a clown whispering, "Have a safe flight."
This week at the O.J. Simpson trial, the infamous bloody glove was finally introduced into evidence, and O.J. didn't help his case any by blurting out, "There it is, I've been looking all over for that thing."
This week, China and the U.S. reached a historic agreement to cut carbon emissions. The leader of ISIS may have been killed in an airstrike, and a spacecraft landed on a comet 300 million miles away. But that ass, though.
Here's an amazing story. Twins born 95 days apart. Even more amazing, they were born to different mothers and they don't even look alike.
Sony was hit by another cyber attack this week, which took its PlayStation network offline for hours, giving gamers a chance to finally go outside and get some fresh weed.
An 83-year-old Wisconsin woman who survived in her broken-down car for 8 days on just fruit juice and frost was rescued last week by family and friends, and they gave her a big welcome-home dinner. But in an ironic twist, they unknowingly served up as the main course fruit juice and frost.
JCPenney on Monday announced a new promotion offering kids free haircuts every Sunday, finally answering the age-old question, "Mom, are we poor?"
Well, Premier Magazine's list of the 100 most powerful people in Hollywood hit the newsstands this month. In an odd bit of ranking, Demi Moore was ranked number 28, while her breasts were ranked 20 and 21. So
Scientists say that when people French kiss, they transfer over 80 million bacteria. This according to a recent study conducted on your mama.
in Arkansas, a 25-year-old man has been arrested for going door to door, attempting to trade sticks of dynamite for sex or drugs. This disturbing case has people all across the nation asking themselves the same question. Why didn't I think of that?
In a recent interview, Texas Governor Rick Perry said that running for the presidency is not an IQ test. Of course it's not an IQ test, and it's also not a lie detector test, or an ethics test, or a foot race.
Well, let's get to O.J. O.J. Simpson's lawyers say they don't want the families of Nicole Brown and Ronald Goldman in the courtroom during the trial. They're afraid the presence of the family members will just remind O.J. of how much more killing he still has to do.
A New Hampshire man was arrested for child endangerment after he left his twin 9-year-old nephews home alone for days at a time. Said one of the twins, "We used to be triplets."
In Carlsbad, Texas, a tanker truck crashed into a prison bus, injuring 16 inmates. Doctors say it will be at least 2 weeks before the men are up and around and raping each other again.
According to an annual ranking by Orkin Pest Control, the places in America with the worst bedbug problems are Chicago, Detroit, and your mama.
According to a survey, 58% of men would have sex with a woman they disliked. Although, while having sex, they would really, really like them, and then afterwards not like them again.
Firefighters in Florida rescued a 7-foot boa constrictor from a house fire. Oh, crap, said a rabbit holding a gas can.
When Simpson trial juror Gina Rodborough returned home this week, her little girls were delighted to have her back. And no wonder. She lets them get away with murder. And finally, physicist Stephen Hawking, who is wheelchair-bound and speaks through a computer voice box, was married earlier this month for a second time. You guys out there who can't get a date, start feeling sorry for yourselves now.
The parents of a 6-year-old Indonesian boy who is addicted to smoking say that he has cut down to 5 cigarettes a day. Now that's very impressive considering how stressed he's been at the sneaker factory.
Well, this week, Attorney General Janet Reno charged software giant Microsoft with trying to monopolize access to the internet and has asked a federal court to fine the company $1 million per day. Analysts say that at this rate, Microsoft CEO Bill Gates will be broke just 10 years after the Earth crashes into the sun.
Nevada's famed Moonlight Bunny Ranch brothel is searching for a quality control tester who will be paid to have sex with prostitutes and rate their performance. The prostitutes will be graded on a scale from F to don't F.
Hey, good evening, everyone.
Welcome to Weekend Update. I'm Michael Che.
I'm Colin Jost. Well, President Biden visited the southern border on Thursday and was horrified to discover it is being swarmed by criminals and rapists. That's right. Both Biden and Trump coincidentally visited the border on the same day, which sounds like the setup for the weirdest rom-com of all time.
Hey, President Biden made a drastic change in his immigration policy, saying he would be willing to shut down the border if given the power by Congress. It's the kind of unexpected shift in direction Biden usually only makes in the middle of a sentence. The Biden campaign is trying to appeal to black voters as polls show their support for Biden has declined. It's getting so bad, he now only has support from Obama's white half. In her new book, Liz Cheney claims that one Republican called Donald Trump Orange Jesus. But it's like you always say, Colin, there's only one Jesus, and he's white.
The Supreme Court heard a case this week over whether a conservative evangelical woman can refuse to design a website for a same-sex marriage. But, honey, I don't know any gay couple who's going to hire a designer with those highlights.
Vice President Kamala Harris praised Beyonce for her new country album, saying that she has reclaimed country music's black roots. I'm sorry, Hootie? Olive oil prices have more than doubled following extreme weather, which sadly has forced many New Jersey residents to bathe in water.
Former president and current reverse mortgage applicant Donald Trump criticized Biden's speech, saying the words are not flowing smoothly out of his mouth. Well, we can't all speak with the same effortless grace as Donald J. Trump.
Just recently heard that Saudi Arabia and Russia will repeat.
Oh, it sounds like someone just inserted a colonoscopy camera.
Mississippi Republican Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith blocked a bill that would protect access to in vitro fertilization because, as they say in Mississippi, if you're having trouble conceiving, just try with a different cousin. Speaker Mike Johnson has also been called homophobic for supporting anti-LGBTQ legislation and saying homosexuality is bizarre and deviant, which are two fantastic gay clubs on the West Side, by the way. Did you guys all forget?
In some great economic news for President Biden, U.S. oil production hit an all-time high this week, and the economy added a surprisingly robust 350,000 jobs. Or as Fox News reported it, are migrants turning your kids trans?
President Biden said Friday that he would visit the site of the Baltimore bridge collapse because, like that bridge, Biden is no longer connecting with black communities. A new poll shows President Biden and Donald Trump are tied in a hypothetical 2024 rematch, though they're both running 50 points behind. Kill me. A man in Missouri is planning to turn an abandoned jail into an Airbnb rental, which will make it the first jail that refuses to accept black people. It was announced that Puerto Rico's only zoo is closing after years of alleged animal neglect. Worse, the zoo is closing. It's being advertised as all you can eat. I'm really proud of that.
A Christmas photo released by the royal family features a bad Photoshop job where Prince Louis's finger appears to be missing. And this is sweet. Meghan Markle said she has a finger they can use if they need it.
In an interview, Senator Mitt Romney said that he will not vote for Donald Trump over Joe Biden. Now, some of you may remember Mitt Romney. That was my best joke, Colin.
Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene said next week she will force a vote to oust House Speaker Mike Johnson. And if there's one thing I bet she's amazing at, it's driving men away. Fans of the Hoi Fong Sriracha hot sauce are complaining that the condiment is not as hot as it used to be. And yet everyone gets upset when I make the same complaint about the cast of Stranger Things.
Yesterday, Mike Johnson, whose position as House Speaker is in jeopardy, traveled to Mar-a-Lago for a meeting with Donald Trump. And boy, is his jaw tired.
That eventually got applause?
Mitch McConnell officially endorsed Donald Trump for president because despite their differences, they actually go way back. Donald Trump endorsed Mark Robinson for North Carolina governor, calling Robinson Martin Luther King on steroids. Not to be confused with Martin Luther King on Ozempic.
There is a trend on TikTok of people eating oranges in showers, claiming that it reduces stress and anxiety. But if you're comfortable filming yourself eating in the shower, I would argue you don't have enough anxiety.
Officials at TikTok are trying to stop efforts in Congress to ban the app by launching a campaign called Project Texas, because TikTok is their baby, and they know Texas won't let them get rid of it. Oh, boy. President Biden said that he supports a bill that would allow the government to ban TikTok, but only because Biden thinks TikTok is a gang member from his old neighborhood.
After a judge issued a gag order against President Trump, Trump told reporters that the judge said, basically, I don't have the right to speak. Then he added, she's like literally killing me. Then he yelled, you're not even my real mom, and slammed his bedroom door.
O.J. Simpson died this week at the age of 76 after a battle with prostate cancer that was planted on him by the LAPD. After meeting with the Anti-Defamation League, Kyrie Irving announced that from now on he will pretend to not be anti-Semitic. Brooklyn Nets star Kyrie Irving was suspended after he tweeted a link to the anti-Semitic film Hebrew to Negroes, Wake Up Black America. You know, Hebrew to Negroes was also the name of my favorite R&B group in the 90s. New York City has enacted a new law requiring public schools to offer free swimming lessons to second graders, which will come in handy the next time it rains here. Thousands of black women have sued L'Oreal and Revlon, claiming that their chemical hair straighteners made them infertile. L'Oreal and Revlon have countersued, claiming that maybe it's Maybelline. Thank you.
President Biden went to Walter Reed Medical Center for his annual physical. Doctors said Biden was fit as a fiddle, in that he's old-timey and held together by strings. There was actually an error in the LA Times obituary for O.J. Simpson. In the section about his prison time, instead of writing O.J. walked out of the Lovelock Correctional Center, they wrote Trump walked out of the Lovelock Correctional Center, a free man for the first time in 9 years. And it's not a great sign for Trump that even autocorrect...
It's not a deal breaker, is it?
A man in California was arrested after he went to a Planet Fitness, took off his clothes, and threatened people with a knife, which, to be fair, is the only way Planet Fitness lets you cancel your membership.
McDonald's has announced a new spin-off restaurant called Cosmix. It's exactly like regular McDonald's, except that at Cosmix, the mascot is, oh no, Cosby McDonald? Democratic Representative Jamal Bowman and Republican Thomas Massey got into a screaming match on Capitol Hill after Bowman called the GOP gutless cowards for opposing gun control, which is a cheap shot because if there's one thing Republicans definitely have, it's big old guts.
A 99-year-old woman in Canada broke 3 world swimming records for her age class in the same day, until finally someone noticed she had fallen in.
The Los Angeles Dodgers have signed two-way superstar Shohei Ohtani to a 10-year contract worth $700 million, which is almost as much as his sister on OnlyFans, Shofeet Ohtani. I thought that was a real smart joke.
A plane in Brazil was stranded on the runway after the plane's wing was covered by a swarm of bees. Bees who worked together to spell out, "Wing is missing screws."
Oh, good, another one. Oh, another one. It was reported that 92-year-old Rupert Murdoch is set to marry his 67-year-old girlfriend. The couple is registered at Campbell's Funeral Home. No, boy, this is...
And yes, it is true, Michael Jackson is going to be a father. Already he has hired an entire staff of nannies, nurses, and extra bodyguards, which hopefully will protect the child from Michael Jackson.
March is Women's History Month, so ladies, that cake is not going to bake itself. Before you ladies get angry and send a bunch of messages about how sexist that joke is, let me just remind you to finish baking that cake.
A new study suggests that heavier women get paid less than thinner women. That is, unless Che's at the strip club.
And they say black guys don't tip.
In Virginia, police are looking for a stripper who stabbed a man for telling her she was too fat to strip. Police warn that the woman is armed and extremely fat.
Police in California are searching for the person who broke into a woman's house and stole a box containing her late husband's ashes. It's like they always say, no matter what, some bitch is always trying to take your man.
In Detroit, under a new prison rehabilitation program called Fresh Start, employers will get a tax break if they hire an ex-convict. Employers who hire more than one ex-convict will get robbed and killed.
According to the adult website Pornhub, the most searched for term in 30 of the 50 states was lesbian. But keep in mind, Michael travels a lot.
Lonely on the road. Police in South Carolina arrested 3 women in bikinis who were beating up another woman. Said police. All right, break it up. That's enough.
In a recent interview, Christy Brinkley suggested that football players should have special gloves connected to lights on their helmets. That way, when they catch the ball, you'll know who has possession. Read these and other interesting ideas in Christy's new book, I'm an Idiot.
Former Subway sandwich spokesman Jared Fogle, who pleaded guilty to having sex with minors, was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Fogle said he was just happy to get anything under 18.
How did you think that was going to end? A British sex toy company has constructed a private booth in New York City for men to masturbate in. Good, because I'm getting tired of doing it in Colin's office.
Wait, what?
I'm kidding, man. I would never get tired of masturbating in your office.
Come on, man, I sleep in there.
The New York City Transit Authority plans to put up signs in subway stations asking city residents to be more polite when getting on and off the subway. Most New Yorkers say the idea sounds great and that the new signs will make excellent urinals.
California is considering a new law that would fine actors in pornographic movies up to $70,000 if they don't wear condoms, said the porn industry. Oh, yeah? And what are you going to do to us if we don't have the money?
The October issue of Penthouse, now on newsstands, contains a picture billed as, quote, the alien, the world's first authentic photograph. A survey of Penthouse readers finds that 60% think the photo's a fake, while only 40% think it's real. All 100%, however, found it, quote, surprisingly easy to masturbate to.
A new study finds that nearly half of non-smoking teenagers in the U.S. are exposed to secondhand smoke, while the other half don't have stepdads.
A French government survey finds that Disneyland Paris is the most popular tourist attraction in the country. And the most popular ride? Women who don't shave their armpits of the Caribbean.
After just 3 months in prison, former Subway spokesman Jared Fogle has already gained 30 pounds. But that's what happens when your portions stop being child size. Oh, I'm the bad guy.
Yeah. Oregon police arrested a man who tried to steal a 2-foot-long python from a pet store by stuffing it down his pants. Yeah, said the man, I'll give you a hint about which snake in my pants is bigger. It's the one that just bit my penis.
The L.A. District Attorney's Office has given Marsha Clark and Christopher Darden bonuses of over $10,000 for, quote, lengthy hard time duty, unquote, in the O.J. Simpson case. A spokesman for the DA said that the prosecutor's bonuses would have been even higher, except for the fact that they let a killer go free.
Burger King has introduced a Halloween-themed burger that has a black bun. Oh, sure, but when I turn black for Halloween, I'm setting back race relations.
I begged you not to do that.
In what is considered a remarkably short period of time, the head of the Federal Advisory Board, Dr. Peter Mellman, has given speedy approval to a controversial new anti-obesity drug. It should be noted, however, Dr. Mellman's wife is a fat pig.
A new survey lists the most romantic city in the country as Alexandria, Virginia, while the least romantic city is once again Flu Farts, Ohio.
A man in Brazil says that a penguin he rescued 5 years ago swims more than 5,000 miles every year just to visit him. That's how good the sex is.
Finally in the news, what is America's most honest city? To find out, a team of sociologists left 10 wallets filled with cash on the street in various urban centers. In Atlanta, 7 of the wallets were returned. In Seattle, 9 of the wallets were returned. But not surprisingly, in New York City, only 1 of the wallets was returned. Empty and shoved up some dead guy's ass.
There's no way we could go back, and that I've broken what we had. Oh, I wish that you would come around. No, and all the things that you just couldn't count. Know how much
He brought his struggling presidential campaign to New Jersey, vowing, in his words, to prove Yogi Berra was right when he said, "It ain't over till it's over." Reached for comment, Yogi Berra said, "It's over."
You can't have whatever you want, all right? I know the forefathers said you have the right to own a gun, but they also said you could own people. Which, by the way, if I owned a whole field of jacked Africans, I'd probably want a dozen or so guns too.
Against the Jets last week, Buffalo Bills running back Thurman Thomas broke O.J. Simpson's career rushing record, and the week before, he surpassed Simpson in career touchdowns. Next up for Thomas, an attempt to kill 3 people at once.
A new study suggests that house cats share similar personality traits with African lions, and if they were bigger, they would kill their owners, instead of just waiting for them to die of loneliness.
Doctors have discovered that deer hunters are at an unusually high risk for stress-related heart attacks. Also at high risk for stress-related heart attacks, deer.
A Florida woman found a missing cat from Wisconsin which had wandered nearly 1,500 miles over 2 months. Or, and hear me out, sometimes cats look like other cats.
A team of doctors will soon perform a surgery that uses muscle and skin from a man's arm to give him a new penis, which he was born without. And before the man with no penis goes into surgery, let me just say this. Good luck, Colin. Now that's not...
A female prostitute who was mistaken for a man spent 15 hours in the men's jail in Denver, where she had consensual sex with 2 male prisoners, making that the first time anyone at any time in any prison ever has ever had consensual sex.
A new report says the best place in the world for retirees is Switzerland, while the worst place for retirees is still at the top of a staircase.
Walmart stores have banned singer Sheryl Crow's latest album because of a lyric in one of her songs that says, quote, "Walmart sells guns to children." Oddly, the store made no objection to another lyric in the song, quote, "Walmart sells crap."
Hellmann's has announced that it is releasing an eggless vegan version of its mayonnaise. Hellmann's is calling the product Colin.
It's his month.
Oh, man.
Happy birthday to Mitt Romney, who today turns 69, which for Mormons is a sin.
Simpson had been discussing marriage with girlfriend Paula Barbieri, but reportedly she has called the wedding off. Her fear was that if they married, she would be brutally murdered. And then someone would try to pin it on OJ.
A nurse in New York State has lost her license after she was convicted of taking a picture of an unconscious patient's penis with her phone. Though, in her defense, it was a pretty hilarious use of face swap.
In economic news, the Mexican peso yesterday sank to an all-time low as it showed up drunk to a family reunion and hit on its cousin, the centavo.
A student in Texas, who is nicknamed White Lightning, set a high school record by running the 100-meter dash in 9.98 seconds. Coincidentally, people call me White Lightning because I also finish in under 10 seconds.
Doctors in Iowa have confirmed a dog disease that can be passed on to humans. Fine, I'll wear a condom. Oh, wow. Okay.
An obese monkey in Thailand named Godzilla has been sent to a special facility to lose weight. Officials realized the monkey was overweight when a bunch of black guys kept hitting on it.
Pretty racist, Colin. CDC is warning people to not eat raw cookie dough because it may contain germs that can cause severe diarrhea. But on the bright side, you can eat cookie dough without ever gaining weight. In and out.
Warner Brothers is producing a new movie in which Superman is black. And a black Superman actually makes a lot of sense when you remember that Superman was abandoned by his parents as a baby. Well, I knew you'd like that one, so here's another one. Warner Brothers is producing a new movie in which Superman is black. In this version, black Superman's kryptonite is an honest day's work.
Francis ended a Vatican summit by promising the Catholic Church would confront the clergy sex abuse head on instead of their usual way, face down, ass up.
This week, construction began on a new hip-hop museum in the Bronx. And I know that we've had a lot of fun with me reading racist jokes that Michael writes for me. But because our country is already divided enough, I'd like to use my platform to say something that everyone of all races can agree on. Woody Allen is innocent. The bat used by Babe Ruth to hit his 500th home run was auctioned off this week. Also, I'll be auctioning off the bat I used to keep my neighborhood white.
Las Vegas is opening a pop-up vaccine site in a strip club. And don't worry, the strippers say the vaccine is a lot like Michael Che. Very quick, and you can barely feel it go in.
The location of Sex Island, which is a 4-day drug-fueled event featuring prostitutes and an exclusive resort, has been revealed to be an island off the coast of Trinidad and Tobago. This, according to the plane ticket I saw in Shay's hand. I just thought of another punchline for that black Superman story. Black Superman will be referred to as the Man of Steel, spelled S-T-E-A-L. A church in Massachusetts has created a nativity scene that comments on the immigration debate by placing the baby Jesus in a cage, where he belongs. A new report finds that as people move into formerly wild areas of Africa, human activity is disrupting chimpanzee culture. Incidentally, chimpanzee culture is also what my grandpa calls hip-hop. Why?
Whoa. I wouldn't have said that.
It was announced that Creed singer Scott Stapp will play Frank Sinatra in an upcoming movie. But the good news is Sammy Davis Jr. will be played by Scarlett Johansson.
Weekend update on Michael Che. A new interview with England's Prince Andrew is being called a total disaster after he said his friend Jeffrey Epstein conducted himself in a manner unbecoming. I don't know. From what I've read, it sounded like he'd be coming all the time. Scientists are testing a new method to treat cancer by injecting the cells with the herpes virus. So good news, if you've ever had sex with me, you might have the cure for cancer.
Recent polls show that Pete Buttigieg has only 4% support among African Americans. But that'll change once Pete announces his running mate, the Popeyes chicken sandwich.
It was revealed that the sequel to the movie Hocus Pocus is in the works for Disney Plus, which judging by this picture is a movie about every white woman I've ever slept with.
Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari, for the first time, denied months-old rumors that he had died and been replaced by a look-alike from Sudan. See, even Africans can't tell black people apart.
The Palm Beach mansion, once owned by Jeffrey Epstein, will soon be demolished. And I'm honestly shocked that they would demolish a place where I have so many fond memories. Rest in power, King. I'll take it from you.
A substitute teacher in North Carolina has resigned after she reportedly told a class of elementary students that Martin Luther King Jr. killed himself. In her defense, he is the one who decided to keep running his mouth. Why? Last week was National Rosa Parks Day, or as we call it in my house, Uppity Bus Passenger Day.
Cowboys owner Jerry Jones is under fire over a picture of him from 1957 where he looks on as black students are stopped from entering his school. Okay, so maybe Jerry Jones was a racist back then. But tell me this, would a racist own a team full of the strongest black men he could buy to work on his field? No, right? The answer is no. Apple is saying that COVID in China has led to a slowdown in iPhone production. Wow. So I guess the new variant does affect children. I love this crowd. A white student at the University of Kentucky was arrested after she was caught on video using a racial slur and assaulting 2 black students. She has been charged with 1 count of impersonating a police officer.
Morocco beat Portugal in the quarterfinals of the World Cup. It is, it's the best World Cup performance by a team of Africans since the unpaid workers who built the stadiums. I didn't do it.
A California hiker who was attacked by a mountain lion said that her dog saved her life by jumping to her defense because after the dog, the mountain lion was way too full to eat anything else. It's not real. Mel Gibson is reportedly in talks to direct a new Lethal Weapon movie. But if you want to see a broken down black guy team up with a handsome racist, just watch Weekend Update. The Palm Beach mansion, once owned by Jeffrey Epstein, will soon be demolished. And I'm honestly shocked that they would demolish a place where I have so many fond memories. Rest in power, King. Some doctors are worried about a new recommendation asking them to encourage middle-aged women to lose weight. Also worried about women losing too much weight? Black guys.
The Empire State. What?
Wednesday was National Coffee with a Cop Day. And something tells me cops like their coffee black with a couple of shots in it.
My God.
Hefty has introduced pumpkin spice scented trash bags, and I gotta say, pumpkin spice scented trash bags is probably the best slur for white people I've ever heard. New York City is now requiring employers to disclose salary ranges in all job listings. Employers must list everything ranging from the top salary all the way down to the female salary.
A new report finds that as people move into formerly wild areas of Africa, human activity is disrupting chimpanzee culture. Incidentally, chimpanzee culture is also what my grandpa calls hip-hop. Why?
I wouldn't have said that. The CIA is marking its 75th anniversary by launching a podcast. And because it's the CIA, they're launching it directly into an Afghani wedding.
Elon Musk took over Twitter. Use of the N-word on the site has reportedly jumped 500%. It's the biggest increase in the use of the N-word since the last time I stubbed my toe.
H&M has apologized after using a black child to model a sweatshirt with the logo "Coolest Monkey in the Jungle." Worse, the shirt was made by the saddest child in the sweatshop. I said worse.
Yeah. An obese monkey in Thailand named Godzilla has been sent to a special facility to lose weight. Officials realized the monkey was overweight when a bunch of black guys kept hitting on it.
That's pretty racist, Colin. Oh, boy. A 102-year-old woman from New York who survived the 1918 Spanish flu has now beat coronavirus twice. But sadly, she was no match for my car.
And well, we're still 5 weeks away from Easter, but earlier tonight, a man came back from the dead.
It was announced that country music star Morgan Wallen had his recording contract suspended after a video surfaced of the singer using the N-word. Wonder who he learned that from.
Some parents in Oregon are having large groups of their children ride their bikes to school at the same time in a formation they're calling a bike bus. And pedophiles are calling a buffet.
Police in Queens were searching for a suspect who hijacked a bus and then immediately crashed it into a utility pole. Okay, so we know it's a woman. Tensions are on the rise after North Korea launched more than 20 missiles into the ocean, and all because the Little Mermaid is black. It's not real.
This week, President Biden pardoned thousands of convicted marijuana users, and it feels like maybe he celebrated with them a little because yesterday, Biden gave a speech at a car factory and opened with this.
Let me start off with two words. Made in America.
Virginia has become the first state in the South to abolish the death penalty. So if you'll excuse me, I've got some white women to whistle at. A growing number of NFL players are filling up their off time by playing chess with each other. And also, let's see here, domestic violence. That's how they're spending their time, Colin.
This week, Britain's most eligible bachelor, Prince Andrew, officially deleted his Twitter account after he realized that's not the app with all the dancing teenagers. Tuesday was National Puppy Day, unfortunately at Subway. A student in Texas, who is nicknamed White Lightning, set a high school record by running the 100-meter dash in 9.98 seconds. Coincidentally, people call me White Lightning because I also finish in under 10 seconds. German researchers have recorded the shortest interval of time for an event to begin and end. The event finished so quickly, scientists have named it Che.